Imagine being a lonely, worthless loser, and considered the worst in the village, but suddenly, you get summoned to another world and there you find a pointless cooking pot, but you level it up to max level, and can use it to become an immortal being. And the strongest of them all. It all starts by showing us a completely different world, and in this world there are people known as the cultivators, who can possess supernatural powers by using spiritual energy, and whomever can reach the highest level of cultivation will become an immortal being. But to become the strongest cultivator of this world of spiritual magic, you must increase your level by using the cultivation process. At the beginning we see two of these immortals named Lee and Mei who are playing a friendly game of chess. Master Lee is currently expressing his frustration with the short-lived time of leisure he has had and also discussing a debt of gratitude that he owes to someone. Lee had promised to accept an old acquaintance's descendant as his own disciple if a message was ever sent from Earth via a black incense. But every time the incense was lit, it always went out, causing him to go on a loose search. At this moment, while playing the chess game, the incense was lit for the 13th time, and this time before it goes out, Lee is now determined to see who is toying with him on Earth. And we see Master Lee flying to Earth for the first time in 3 years, and he makes his way down at last. Here we meet our main protagonist, which is some lonely random guy on Earth named Bai, standing on top of the mountain, and he's the one who keeps lighting the black incense, and this will be the 13th time in the last 3 years that the black incense has been lit. Right now Bai is determined to follow through with his message, despite the ritual causing a huge storm in the village and getting attacked by huge rays of lightning. He's still willing to pull through this time to send this message to the immortals up above, instead of running away again like he normally does. We see the other villagers down below who are angry at Bai for causing the thunderstorm once again, and these villagers begin to pray to the immortal to please take Bai away, as he creates too many problems, and they even refer to Bai as the White Weasel, as he eats all the chickens and leaves the rest of his people starving. They are all super mad, but apparently Bai is the only one among his people who wishes to become something other than a smelly, worthless villager, but they all laugh at him for having these crazy dreams, and think it's a total waste of time trying to contact an immortal god. However, after their prayers, the master of the village demands that they all be quiet and to be kind towards Bai, as Bai's parents died when he was at an early age, and as a result, the villagers pretty much became his second parents to him, and watched him grow up. But despite that, they still prayed to the immortals to take Bai away. After some time, Bai eventually gives up, but all of a sudden he hears a voice call out to him, and here we see the first-class immortal Lee arrives on Earth to greet him, and here Lee explains how he's the one who Bai has been trying to contact, and asks Bai what the hell he is doing lighting the incense all the time, which is annoying the absolute f*** out of him, and asks him what the hell he wants. After, Bai apologizes, and tells Lee that his ancestor ordered him to contact the immortals, so no matter what, he has to teach him the ways of being a cultivator. After begging Lee for half an hour, Lee finally accepts and tells Bai he can come to the spirit sect realm and be his disciple, where he can train to be a cultivator. But no matter what, he can't cheat this cultivation process, no matter how hard it is, nor can he find ways to bypass the process. He must work hard to become an immortal just like the other immortals in their realm. Bai agrees, and Lee said they must leave right away, but Bai tells Lee that there's one person he must say goodbye to, which is the headmaster of the village, who he said will be very upset when they depart, as Bai has always thought of him as his father. However, as soon as they heard the news of Bai leaving, the whole village threw a massive party and celebrated his departure, including the headmaster of the village, and they was extremely happy that he was gone. While leaving, Bai shouts out to the people of the village that he will be back soon, and they all get nervous when they heard this. We then get a change of scene, and here we see Bai and Lee who have reached the Spirit Stream sect, and when Bai sees their world for the first time, he is shocked and fascinated by the realm he has just entered. But upon arriving, Lee makes Bai fall off his spirit sword they were flying on, and Bai falls in a place called the Fire Kitchen, and Lee tells him that this is the place he will be learning his cultivation, and Brody dips out like a boss, showing off his spiritual powers, impressing Bai. After falling, Bai feels confused and dizzy, and here he bumps into a rather large man called Mr. High, the man who's in charge of the Fire Kitchen. And he tells Bai that from now on he will train his cultivation powers in this area of the sect, and will be his main disciple as he's so skinny and weak, so he needs all the attention on him. Otherwise Mr. High might cry, as he's never seen such a thin dude before. However, this conversation was overheard by another low-level disciple cultivator named Bao, who rages at Bai for taking his position as the newest cultivator, as Bao wanted to work here in the Fire Kitchen. And he also trained really hard, earning some money to make sure he gets a spot here. So Bao uses a spirit sword attack against Bai, but Mr. Hai quickly uses some water cultivation power to block his spirit sword attack, and thus saving Bai. Bao tries once again to attack Bai with more cultivation abilities, but Mr. Hai shuts him down and levitates and throws the bucket at Bao's face. After doing this arrogant act towards Bai, Mr. Hai requests for him to leave the fire kitchen, otherwise he will kick him out of this realm once and for all, and send his ugly ass back to whatever shithole he came from. However, Bao calls Mr. Hai a fat nerd and uses the blood from his nose to create some kind of spiritual bird, which goes after Bai, causing Bai to have a mark on his hand. And this mark is made as a stamp that Bao officially challenges Bai to a duel one day, and due to the bird mark, Bai is forced to accept it as they are sword enemies from this point. However, Mr. Hai tells Bai that he will protect him as he's very weak and warns Bai to learn cultivation but to remain inside the fire kitchen walls, otherwise Bao could get to him. After that, Hai takes Bai into the kitchens for the first time, and here he explains how they make a lot of spiritual foods that will awaken certain parts of the body, and they make delicious dishes for some of the elders. And here we see the other cooks who are very excited upon the arrival of Bai, as they've never seen a skinny newbie, and Bai introduces himself. After, the cooks take Bai to see all the fire kitchen's divine mystical weapons which he can use to cultivate his powers, and after hearing this, Bai is extremely excited to see which divine object he can use, but Mr. Hai presents the choice of things he can pick out, and he gets upset when he realizes that all the items are just pots and pans. He asks Hai where all the mystical divine objects are, but Hai tells him that these are the only things to choose from, and Mr. Hai tells Bai that as long as he has a pot like this, everyone in this realm will know he's a part of the fire kitchen and will prevent him from being bullied. So eventually Bai picks a pot of his choice to use, and the one he picked out looked a lot like a turtle shell, making them all laugh. And they tell Bai that this pot has been sitting there for hundreds of years and nobody's ever wanted it. After returning to the kitchen dormitory, he sits down with Mr. Hai, who explains to Bai that there are 10 stages of cultivation for a disciple, and these are called consideration, and the higher your level, the more techniques you can master. And after all 10 key consideration methods are mastered, you can proceed on to the foundation establishment realm. However, in this fire kitchen, all new disciples can only reach 3 levels of consideration methods, and will have to move out of this sect and explore onwards in other sects to level up higher. But Bai remembers his sworn enemy Bao, who was waiting for him outside these walls, and now he must train his cultivation to protect himself, and make sure he wins the fight and lives a long life here in the sect that he worked so hard and patiently to get into. After Bai pulls out all the scrolls and begins learning as fast as he can. However, while trying to train his cultivation powers, he hears a strange noise coming from outside, and wonders if it was Bao who has come for him. So Bai goes outside to find out what it is. However, it was just the cooks who are indulging in all the food and eating all the best food in the sect, which shocks Bai. However, without Bai knowing, Bao was watching him from the mountains above. Meanwhile, after seeing the cooks in the kitchen, they take him inside and makes Bai eat with them so he can't tell the others what they are doing. And after eating his full, they start to reveal to Bai all the recipes for spiritual cultivation and how hard it is to achieve this immortality status, as they have all been eating this stuff out of the fire kitchen for so long, trying to rank up, but they just get uglier and turn into disgusting fatzos. However, Bai takes in all the information and starts by cooking a grain of spiritual rice in his wok. Zhang is amazed at how quickly Bai reaches the first Kai condensation level. They explain that there are 3 types of refining: refining weapons, refining elixirs, and spiritual refining. And since spiritual refining is extremely rare, and only some have the hope of accomplishing it, Bai wonders if his grain of rice was spirit refined, and if his wok is a divine instrument that can perform spirit refinement. Bai realizes that Bao is only at the 2nd level of Kai condensation, and decides to train even harder so he doesn't have to hide anymore. He is surprised when he just finished spirit refining his wooden sword twice, but his wok began to flow, and something seems to be pulled out of him. Bai realizes that he must be losing part of his lifespan when refining, and he forsakes his wok for ruining his hard work. Bai blames Bao for the intense training, but Zhang explains that he can take him out easily. They fight, and Bai wins the fight. Bai blames Bao for losing his lifespan, and the spell cast on Bai is lifted. The supervisor is shocked to see that a new disciple has defeated Bao, but Bao shockingly reveals that Bai has reached level 3 Kai condensation. An advancement trial is announced for anyone willing to participate, and Bai thinks it's time for a change. The fire kitchen plans to take all 3 spots themselves, but they must have a thorough plan to succeed. Bai agrees to go along with their plan, because the competition will be really intense and exhausting. The group trains tirelessly for the trial, but they are surprised to find it more intense than expected. As they climb the mountain, their movement is restricted, but Bai remains unaffected. Chen, of the supervising department, is left behind to make empty threats. Bai arrives in the dangerous area and learns about the final hurdle of the trial, which involves controlling 5 wooden pillars in the mud. Jiang explains that the trial isn't so difficult, but Bai is skeptical. Bai reveals that he will give up outer sector spots for 200 spirit stones, and he gives an emphatic speech about pursuing dreams and beginning their path to immortality. One of the men realizes that he won't need the spirit stones when he becomes immortal and gives his life savings to Bai. The overseer of the trial stops everything and reveals that they are openly defying the trial rules. Bai shows off his knowledge of the rules by relaying all 386 rules to the overseer, and since they aren't breaking any rules, Bai continues with the transactions and takes bids for the other 2 spots. A strange girl from the Hu family offers 10 times as much as Bai, and she's officially made the second outer sector disciple. Chen arrives upset, but the overseer explains that they aren't breaking any rules and instructs everyone to follow him to the law enforcement hall. They agree, but Chen sends Bai towards the gate to force him into becoming an outer sector disciple. Bai is forced through the gate to join the outer sector after selling his spots. They all are eventually forced to become outer sector disciples and learn to cultivate the medicinal path among the 4 main sectors. Bai is reintroduced to the Immortal Li, who tells him that he must train hard or be sent back to his village. Yun Fei, an outer sector disciple, explains that Bai must have better etiquette if he hopes to learn how to make a longevity pill. Bai is taken to the script pavilion, where he learns about 10 volumes worth of plants and spiritual beasts. He must pass the 10 giant monuments exam to move on to the next level. Bai surprisingly helps a man find a specific scroll, which he remembers accurately. The elder reveals that the script is incomplete and difficult to train, so Bai endures bone piercing, acute pain, and extreme hunger, but remains determined. Bai runs into a monument meant for someone taking their exam. He is surprised when a voice announces that the exam tablet has been activated. Bai decides to go with the exam, and is told to draw a symbol to begin the exam. Meanwhile, a crowd celebrates as they wait for the goddess Ju to masterfully complete her exam nearby. Bai decides on a unique symbol and works hard to finish the exam. Exhaustion kicks in as Bai thinks about how he only has a few left to go. Elsewhere, Ju confidently counts the thousands of animal skeletons she's putting together and emerges from another monument. Everyone is distracted by her, but Xiaomai sees Bai and explains that the symbol of the person with the highest exam score will appear above the monuments. She revealed that 9 out of the 10 monuments Zhu had placed first. She is challenging the 10th one, and if she places first again, it will be a marvel that the sector hasn't seen in over 1,000 years. However, no sound or voice appears, and everyone is shocked to see that the symbol is just a turtle. Everyone is stunned by the beautiful little turtle symbol. Bai pretends to be someone else, explaining how the turtle was drawn in such a concise, stylish, and adorable way. Bai, who impresses Zayame with his ability to beat Zhu, reveals that it will take over 9,000 plants to beat him. Zayame defends the little turtle, and Bai saves her from being hurt. Zayame inspires Bai to master all 10 Kai condensation levels, and hopes to see the little turtle placed first in all 10 monuments, eventually earning the secret treasure. Bai agrees to join Zayame in cheering on the little turtle, and she reveals that doing so will change a person's lifespan immensely. She also explains that there are 3 foundation establishment types. One can increase a person's lifespan by 100 years and another by even more. A fight between 2 factions is brewing, and innocent people are being hurt. People begin to wonder if the little turtle is fighting back for the sake of righteousness, and in just a few months the turtle has come first on 9 monuments, and all efforts to catch him have failed. One night, Bai waits at the final monument and is surprised to see that law enforcement has left it alone. Once inside, a large group forms to wait for him outside. The divine cauldron ring appears above the final monument, and everyone is amazed to hear it again after 1,000 years. Bai receives the supreme treasure and the divine cauldron rings. Everyone prepares to attack, but they are distracted by a strange turtle shell. They chase after Bai, but Zayame interrupts them, leading to a fight between fellow sector members and law enforcement. Li arrives to break up the fight, instructing everyone to leave. Bai also leaves the premises but is horrified to see that his immortality pill is in the hands of a wild chicken. The dumb bird swallows the pill and flies away majestically. Bai, the mysterious turtle, has become a legend. He has reached the 4th Kai condensation level and is now working on becoming immortal. During his training, he refines his skin, muscles, and bones, eventually reaching the 4th Kai condensation level. He curses the bird that ate his immortality pill and uses a decoy insect to trick a chicken at a nearby chicken farm. The next day, Ju informs Lee that his immortal spirit-tailed chickens are being stolen. Lee is deep in training and unaware of the situation, but Ju, his disciple, offers her protective pendant as a reward for capturing the spirit-tailed chicken. Thief Bai realizes the danger and decides to act quickly. Ju, impressed by Bai's dedication, agrees to form a thief-catching squad and gives him a ribbon as a sign of trust. Bai thinks his new identity will make it easier for him to steal chickens, and head to another farm to continue his stealing activities. While stealing, Bai hears Ju scolding the farmers for sleeping on the job, and begins to pretend to search for the thief and lies about sustaining internal injuries fighting him. He takes full responsibility as the squad leader for allowing the thief to get away, as Ju buys his story. Ju advises Bai to rest and focus on his duties as the leader of the squad. One night, Bai buries more chicken bones and laments the limited number of chickens left on the chicken farm, and realizes he must expand his operation and heads to other sectors to find more chicken farms. Bai continues his intense training but is surprised by a sneak attack in the woods. He dodges the attacks but realizes his out-of-shape condition, and notices that his skin has become harder than a turtle shell. Lee finally reveals himself and expresses his amazement at Bai's achievement of undying skin and even surpassing it to reach iron skin. Bai, totally exhausted, begs for Lee's rescue and tries to justify eating spirit-tailed chickens by promising to turn over a new leaf. Lee arrives to warn Bai of being left in the Valley of 10,000 Snakes forever, but Bai accepts to enter the tournament in exchange for his escape, revealing that he has spirit-refined his sword 3 times and has reached the 5th level of Kai condensation. He learns to control his spiritual energy better through studying scripture and practicing the throat lock move. Bai learns to lift a water tank but struggles with his spiritual energy. He decides to sell bamboo to buy elixirs to boost his spiritual energy, and eventually manages to lift the tank. However, if he can't place in the top 5 during the competition, he will be sent back with the snakes, meaning he won't become immortal. On the day of the competition, Feng, the overseer from Bai's trial, participates as well. A girl named Lingfei arrives and is acknowledged as powerful by everyone. Some believe she will take the top spot, while others believe Feng will. Bai is late for the competition, but the immortal Chief Li scolds him, transporting him to the competition. Bai then changes his mind as he is relieved to be fighting last, but is told that what matters most is the opponent he will face. The competition begins, with participants 1 and 2 facing off, and Chen is announced as the winner. Contestants 3 and 4 go on, and Feng wins the battle with 1 attack. Lingfei impresses in her fight, using a smokescreen to destroy her opponent. Bai's opponent explains that they aren't in a culinary competition when he sees Bai's walk, but Bai states that it's for his defense. His opponent doesn't hold back though, and after Bai's walk is knocked from his hand, he's surprised to find his opponent unconscious. Bai wins the competition and is mocked by the audience. Feng is called to face Bai, who is preparing for the next round. Bai is extremely scared and tries to delay the fight, fearing that he will be beaten badly, but Feng refuses. Feng is shocked to see Bai's cowardice and begging for mercy. Feng uses the blood spirit technique to stop Bai's attack, but Bai's refined protective pendant defense prevents him from dying, and defeats Feng. Li observes Bai's sword being spirit refined 3 times, and is in disbelief as it glows with radiance. Chen, confident that the winner will win the tournament, decides to hurry and end the fight with Lingfei. Chen prepares his final attack, which she manages to avoid. Lingfei gains the upper hand and is declared the winner. Bai has already made it into the top 5 and has no reason to continue fighting. He offers to surrender to Lingfei when their fight begins. She points out that Bai only managed to reach the finals using items, and is insulted to hear that he plans to hand her the victory. As their fight begins, Bai makes an attempt to convince Lingfei to let him forfeit, but she refuses and explains that she only needs 1 attack to end the fight. She unleashes her attack, breaking Bai's protective pendant and piercing his chest. As Bai points out that her sword has broken his protective pendant, Lingfei is mortified. Bai reveals that he was extra cautious and added 2 more layers of leather to his suit. Lingfei faints immediately after the fight, and the elder declares him the winner of the entire competition. She challenges Bai to a competition on their knowledge of plants, and Bai wins the competition by identifying the most herbs. Bai's confidence is impressive, as he lists all the plants and the graphs used to create them. The elders are amazed by Bai's skill. As Bai continues to progress, he encounters Bao, Bai's old bully, who apologizes for trying to kill him. Bao explains that he has connections and warns Bai to be skeptical of the people in the supervision department. Chen, who was once pushed into the outer sector, has made Bai his target, and his brother Feng, part of the law enforcement hall, is also after him. Bao offers to be Bai's right-hand man, as competition in the immortal cultivation world is brutal, and having just one extra friend greatly increases one's chances of survival. Bai is astounded when he learns that reaching the Foundation establishment realm will extend his lifespan by 100 years. To restore his lifespan, they must refine pills themselves, which requires becoming an apothecary journeyman. Bai's reputation grows, and he successfully manages to refine pills in all 10 furnaces, creating a mid-grade level pill. Bai's exceptional reputation has caused the crowd to look for his help, and Chen watches furiously as his brother Feng tells him to calm down. Zayame arrives to compliment Bai on his good deeds, but the conversation is interrupted by Bai's right-hand man, Bao. Bao warns Bai to run away while he still can. But when they get outside, they are met by law enforcement who explains that Bai must come with them to the law enforcement hall. Feng and Ling Fei wait for Bai, the third person assigned to their group. They are surprised to find that Bai is unreliable, and they decide to look for a man named Yunfei who they have lost contact with. They are surprised to find that the mission is not for battle, but they must find him and protect themselves. The mission begins as Bai says that it is his first mission, making him nervous and wondering if the destination is dangerous. They arrive at the heaven-raising river, which serves as the source of spiritual energy for all sectors. They reach their final destination, the Fallen Star Mountains, but they don't wait until the morning to explore, so Bai fears there might be dangerous beasts lurking around. As they near the demon bloodstream sector, they encounter a two-headed bat with poisonous claws in their teeth that cause choking upon contact with blood. A giant with strength beyond the Foundation establishment level also appears, but a tree saves them from being crushed. Feng and Ling Fei help them fight off the bats, but there are too many and they cannot escape, so they decide to separate and meet up outside the forest. But Bai is nowhere to be found. Feng takes responsibility for bringing them through the forest, but Ling Fei points out that no one could have predicted the bats being there. Back in the forest, Bai runs from the bats and exclaims that his life is far too valuable to let the bats catch him. Feng and Ling Fei are in awe of Bai's presence, as they hear his voice and realize that he is standing right in front of them. They feel terrified and wonder why Bai didn't come to their smoke signal immediately. Feng is shocked to him seen alive and explains that Bai managed to defeat the two-headed bats and discovered that the tooth of the bat is a rare material for refining the burning blood incense elixir. As they are about to leave, they are attacked by an eye above them, which Feng explains is an ancient beast that can slowly drain a person's true energy with its stare until the person dies. They search for Yunfei and follow a spirit stream disc, which indicates the last place Yunfei's transmitter emitted its last signal. Feng realizes what is going on and reveals a message left by Yunfei, revealing that he discovered strange clues in the mountains and went to investigate. Bai proclaims that he is taking everyone's safety into account and is not willing to abandon the mission. They arrive at the seemingly desolate border and meet a man from the Liuchen clan, who teaches them that stillness is the best path to cultivation. Feng is eager to meet their leader, but the man explains that they all simply need to follow him. A creepy voice singing in the distance tells listeners to be obedient and not cry. Feng continues following the group but is attacked by a red shadow. Ling Fei warns not to touch the ribbons, as they will cause a person to become deranged. The man from the Liuchen clan is the one behind the attack, and Feng vows to make the man pay for betraying the spirit sector. The ribbons are overwhelming, and they must run. Bai attempts to report back to the sector, but the transmitter isn't working, and they see an array unique to the blood sector begin to form. Once it is complete, their life will be drained and they will all die a slow death. Bai runs around terrified to realize that his life will end there, but instantly composes himself to save Ling Fei as she's attacked. Ling Fei searches for Bai, and they are interrupted by a member of the Liuchen clan, who explains how honorable it is to be part of their spiritual sacrifice. Feng, Bai, and Ling Fei face off against the man, who uses the array's power to cast his illusions. Ling Fei uses an explosive pill to hurt him, but the man disappears after the attack. The Liuchen clan has defected to the bloodstream sector, and Lun Fei explains that they cannot escape as the soul-sucking array is complete. Bai reveals that he made a hole in the array and used it to escape with Yunfei. Feng is shocked when he realizes that Bai is still alive and vows not to let himself die in such a place. Feng emerges from the roots and vows to tear Bai to pieces when he gets out. The man from earlier explains that he will never escape their array. Bai pretends to be upset that Feng was left behind and credits Feng for saving him. The Liuchen clan is performing a ritual, and the man from earlier reports to their leader, Chen Yu. He explains that the Liuchen clan has betrayed the spirit sector and will not let them live. Ling Fei and Bai agree to fight back with all their strength so they can return to the spirit sector together. They are struck by a vicious attack, and the man from earlier explains that they have unfinished business. Ling Fei tells Bai to run away and report what is happening on the mountain, and Bai takes off as fast as he can. Everyone is shocked as they see that Bai has returned and promises to protect their lives from now on. Bai returns just in time to rescue Ling Fei from certain death, and she tells Bai to run away once again. Bai explains that he won't abandon them anymore and will protect their lives. The attackers are surprised to see the coward who was the first to run, but they are wrong as Bai finally demonstrates his fighting abilities. Ling Fei watches in amazement as she knows that Bai has always been very afraid of dying and wonders how he found the courage to come back. Chen Yu uses his malicious ghost-killing ability on Bai and unleashes a barrage of attacks, which hardly affect Bai, and Ling Fei wonders if this is the ancient undying power technique. Chen Yu is completely confused as he knows that Bai is only at the 5th level of Kai condensation, but determines that he is far stronger than Bai. The two of them battle it out, with Ling Fei using a purple Kai transformed cauldron to defeat the monster. The leader of the Liuchen clan is informed that Chen has died, and everyone is shocked as they believe that he is just fighting 3 disciples. Chen Yu is at level 8 Kai condensation, so everyone wonders if their secret has already been found out and if the spirit sector has sent a foundation establishment cultivator after them. Chen Heng arrives to calm the entire clan down and promises to take care of the problem back in the forest by surprise. He promises Ling Fei they will return to the sector together, and she removes a sword pierced on Bai. The group attempts to escape the mountains as they're being hunted by the Liuchen clan, and Bai determines that it will take them 3 days to escape. They must fight countless enemies as they flee, but Yunfei is not getting any better and asks for help. The Liuchen clan has several people at much higher levels than them, and since Bai is only at level 5 Kai condensation, he predicts that Bai won't be able to endure much longer. As the Great Array nears completion, Ling Fei reveals that she has heard of a man in the Liuchen clan named Chen Heng, who has reached the peak of level 9 Ki condensation. Bai and others are trying to escape from the evil, but they are not safe yet. Bai, who is fast and determined to save everyone, runs to the top of a cliff and proclaims his presence. Ling Fei threatens to take her own life if Bai doesn't leave, but they believe that leaving is their only hope of surviving. Bai continues running, and Chen Heng instructs all available members of the clan to go after him. They continue the manhunt to finish off the 2 others, with Bai determining that he only needs to keep everyone busy for 16 hours so that his friends can escape. He encounters several clan members, one using illusions and another using axes, but Bai manages to handle them both. When he is attacked from afar by a man using arrows, he sacrifices his body to take out the marksman. Chen Heng knows that Bai must have taken a hit from an arrow to land a counterattack and expresses his excitement about getting to meet someone like Bai. In the forest, Bai is hardly able to stay conscious as he determines that he has lured the enemies far enough away, and his friends should be safe. After defeating some clansmen, Bai overhears that the Ken has found his friends and decides to fight them in turn. He defeats several clansmen who have reached level 6 Kai condensation, and he proudly introduces himself as Master Bai. Bai is captured by Chen Heng, who marvels at Bai's ability to defeat dozens of his clansmen and even Chen Yu. As Bai's fleeing friends gather, Ling Fei begs Bai to continue enduring. Back to Bai, as he is consumed by Hank's familiar, and wonders if this is how he will die. Bai has a childhood memory of his dying mother, uses his power to force his way out of the snake, and unleashes an immense attack on Chen Heng. He points out that his spiritual energy feels like it wants to take away all life, and he breaks through to the 6th level of Kai condensation. Bai's throw block attack is stopped, and he breaks Bai's arm. Bai shows Ling Fei the boundary monument, where she will be able to send a message back to the sector. She promises that she will survive, and she heads off without him. Chen Heng, a level 9 Kai condensation cultivator, summons his purple transformed cauldron to land a powerful attack on Bai. Bai is amazed by the power of a level 9 Kai condensation cultivator and acknowledges that Bai must still die. His ability brings forth a deadly sword and causes him to transform. As Bai is amazed by the power of a level 9 Kai condensation cultivator, Chen Heng prepares to destroy Bai with his immense sword. Bai uses his walk to stop the attack, but Hank pushes his attack further and manages to break through the walk's defense. The force created by the attack pushes Ling Fei off a cliff, and she drops her transmitter. Chen Heng is shocked to see that Bai is holding onto his arm and not letting him go. Ling Fei finally reaches the monument and sends her message back to the spirit sector. Bai proudly acknowledges his accomplishment before collapsing. Back in the spirit sector, Ling Fei informs everyone that Feng has been killed in battle. Bai has been taken away by a level 9 cultivator alone, and it is unknown if Bai is still alive. Law enforcement elder Aoyang Jai is informed about the Liuchen clan betraying the spirit sector and Bai's involvement in the blood sector. Aoyang Jai instructs all disciples to abandon missions, stop training, and assemble at the center of the village to annihilate traitors and rescue their fellow disciples. The Lucian clan leader, Hangan, is shocked by the spirit sector forces attacking their base, crushing the entire Lucian clan. Army Chief Li is informed that Bai and Ling Fei are yet to be found, and they are now the top priority near the monument. Ling Fei is found by two strangers and healed just enough to wake up. They find the remains of one of Bai's battles and discover a blade mark from a cultivator at the 9th level of Kai condensation. Li is told that it would be impossible for Bai to survive, but Ling Fei arrives and explains that as long as Bai's corpse is not found, he must still be alive. The sector will never forget that Bai sacrificed his life for a righteous cause, and they plan to honor him. A memorial service is held to mourn Bai's death, and a speech honoring Bai is given. Li wonders what would have happened if he hadn't brought Bai to the spirit realm or if he had paid more attention to him. The other members of Bai's team are promoted to the inner sector, but Ling Fei has another request: to be stationed at Dongguan City, a desolate and dangerous land. Ling Fei stays at the ceremony longer than everyone else, believing that Bai is still alive and wants to wait for him to return. Bai dreams of becoming a hero in the spirit sector. He wakes up to find himself completely healed and wonders if he has died. A mysterious old guy reveals himself as Bai's tomb guardian, and he helps him recover his spiritual strength. The man explains that achieving the power of the undying body is difficult and grueling. Still, only those who master the 2 volumes written in scripture can break through the shackles and seals and solve the riddle of life and the eternal. The man disappears but leaves behind the missing 2nd volume of the undying power. Ling Fei is upset about her overseers not returning to report on a mission for over 6 months. She sees Bai wandering the town like a beggar and is surprised to hear his voice. She lends Bai clothes and treats him to good food. Bai assures her that he will always be there for her whenever she needs him and will solve all her problems. She cries and Bai promises not to reveal her troubles to anyone. Ling Fei reveals that her existence in this world is fake, and only the person in front of him is genuine. Bai is treated like a hero in the spirit sector, and a special event is held to commemorate his demise. A statue honoring him is revealed just then a flying ship crashes into it, breaking off the head and shocking everyone. Everyone is relieved to see that Bai is still alive, but some question how he could have survived such a terrible situation. He was promoted to the inner sector and made the 10th honored disciple. Bai is excited to see what his reward is. Yuan, who is an expert in refining elixirs, decides to give the Divine Crane Shield and Golden Crow Sword to Bai. Bai returns to the stage where the sector's competition was held, where Zayame shows him the large plant used in the final. She reveals that people come to this tree to ask for wishes. Later, Bai receives several gifts from other sectors and is called Master Bai around the city. People gossip about Bai's powerful golden cruel divine sword, and shows respect as he walks through the city. Bao appears and gloats about his new status, but they crash when they hear Chen. Chen wishes to have eliminated Bai when he had the chance before but promises to do it in the future. Bai speaks about how youngsters like him are the future of the spirit sector, and that he should learn from his fallen brother Feng's actions. Tianyu, master of Chen, arrives there and tries to fight Bai but walks away after only intimating him. Bai is shaking with anger as he vows to one day get back at him. Bai is upset about being embarrassed by Tianyu and vows to beat him to the Foundation establishment. He buys ingredients for making a 2nd-grade elixir, but finds his stuff useless. An auction is held, and Bai predicts that the 3 elixirs he brings will earn him a fortune. Yunfei and Zayame attend, but she hides from Bai. The auctioneer prepares to begin, with a large number of treasures of unprecedented scope and quality. Bai realizes his first item is a purple Kai Spirit Ascension pill, a 2nd-grade low-quality item with a 60% impurity level. The crowd is shocked that someone would auction off such a low-quality item, but he reminds them of his status and explains that he spent 3 months making the pill. The crowd bids over 5,000 stones for the last item, which has the rare quality of having been spirit refined 3 times. The final item is the same type of pill as the last 2, with the symbol of the little turtle. Zhu acknowledges his talent and shows how much of a fan she is of him. The crowd realizes that all 3 pills must have been the little turtle's offer of enlightenment to them. Zayame bids 100,000 stones, and her brother tries to calm her down. She reminds everyone that her family owns the auction, and Bai realizes he just made a fortune. He announces that he's the illustrious little turtle. The crowd thinks he's only joking since the little turtle doesn't seek fame or fortune, and everyone knows that Bai loves those things. Zayame's the only one who believes him. But when he goes to chase her, he runs into two women. They want to discuss the details of their marriage and reveal that the ingredient box he took earlier was actually a betrothal gift. Bai is offered a fortune by one of the fathers, but he remains hesitant. They offer rare ingredients for refining elixirs, and Bai decides to wait until they can decide. However, law enforcement arrives to announce that Bai will not be able to choose a partner for 100 years. Bai realizes that the glory of his elixir is no longer important to him and decides to focus on cultivating immortality. Another failed refinement damages the pavilion, and the elder bans him from there forever. Lee, however, explains that great things come from small things, and the path to an apothecary master is not different. Bai mischievously takes his pill refining to his home, creating a pill that looks strange, and wonders if it's an impurity issue. He drops the pill and finds that the precious pill meant to help him reach the foundation level has been eaten by a rabbit. The rabbit dies, and Bai wonders if the pill is poisonous. He tests it on another animal, a spirit-tailed chicken, and a bird with familiar eyes. A group of men discuss the unbearable weather, and a talking rabbit informs everyone in the sector that Bai is causing the weather phenomenon. A large group gathers and accuses Bai of using his status as an honored disciple to get away with causing harm. They all rally for justice but end up getting covered in acid rain at Bai's house. The elder arrives to confront Bai, who has tolerated him for long enough and has destroyed his home. The elder shows the phoenix bird that has kept him company for the past 2 years and explains that Bai has brought harm to it. The elder prepares to take Bai's life, but Lee arrives to stop him. Tensions rise as the rabbit returns to mimic embarrassing words said by the elder, refusing to cooperate with Bai, and Lee gets upset. Elsewhere, a man named Hanzong is startled when he hears his master's voice since he passed away a long time ago. His master is uncertain about how he was brought back and wonders if it had something to do with the pill he consumed. Bai is punished by Lee for trying to refine a foundation establishment pill. Lee explains that he is only at the 7th level of Kai condensation, and so Bai promises not to cause more trouble. Bai learns about the Dragon Elephant Sea transformation scripture, which has 3 levels and infinite potential for success. Lee fears that Bai might become too clever and hurt himself. Bai achieves level 8 Kai condensation but faces qualifiers for entering the Northern and Southern War. Zayame hopes that Lee arrives quickly to help him. Bai discovers that he can sense all living creatures around him and has an indescribable power. He realizes that this method has allowed him to touch the shackles of life earlier, and is determined to break them. The chiefs watch as the Northern Bank is extremely powerful. The top 10 individuals will participate in the battle, and they are excited to see who can break free and distinguish themselves. Bai falls into a snake pit and uses a pill to scare the snakes, but it disappears. The chiefs are amazed at the strength of the final participants but cannot find Bai. Bai breaks some pills onto the snakes, but they all make different animal noises. Bai is more proud of his genius than ever, and Tian is ahead of everyone. Bai is the first to qualify through the portal and shocks the chiefs while the other contestants accuse him of using an underhanded strategy. The top 10 finishers will represent the Southern Bank in the Battle of the Northern and Southern Banks chosen, with the top 5 entering the secret realm to meditate and increase their cultivation level. Bai has no knowledge about the sacred lands, but Nu explains that he doesn't need to know anything since he probably won't even survive the Battle of the Chosen. Bai is told that the fighters of the Northern Bank focus on controlling ferocious beasts, and that the Battle of the Chosen is very dangerous and some deaths will be unavoidable. Lee talks to Bai and teaches him to live up to his aspirations and prove himself worthy of Lee's training. He learns that once someone achieves the Mortal Vein Foundation establishment, they won't have the chance to cultivate a golden core and attain immortality. Bai and Bao spy on the Northern Bank, where the 4 Great Chosen reside. They discuss how they have never lost because they control beasts. The beast in the abyss has not been active for several thousand years because it has been drained of its life source. Bai wanders into a cave and assumes there must be something dangerous down there. He gets a pill from a dragon with immense spiritual power, which he offers to make 1,000 times better in exchange for his freedom. The dragon becomes enraged and Bai refines the pill with dragon blood, giving the dragon the dream pill, which is 1,000 times more potent than the last. The dragon seems pleased with the results, but Bai wakes up to be told that he was unconscious for quite some time and that if he slept for any longer, he would have missed tomorrow's Battle of the Chosen the next day. The battle between the Southern and Northern Banks is set to begin. with the elders of both sides revealing their chosen fighters. The North won the last battle, allowing 12 participants, while the South could only have 10 fighters. Guia, the top chosen from the Northern Bank, is the top contender. Tianyu issues an open challenge and someone from Northern Bank accepts it. After a tiring battle, Tian is revealed to be the winner. Lu Tianli challenges Guia to a fight for the top spot. Guia wins the battle after one of the elders intercepts. Li reveals that the Northern Bank has the highest secret technique, the Wetland Kingdom, which requires studying 100 beasts to materialize. Bei Hanlei is insulted by Bai's arrogance and commands his Night Stalker beast to devour him. He uses his refined pills to tame the beast, and the Northern Bank is stunned. Bai detonates the pills, causing the Night Stalker to go after Bei Hanlei. The crowd reacts splitly to the win. An elder from the Northern Bank attacks Bai, but Li points out that there are no rules against it, especially since Bai refined the pills himself. Tensions rise as birds fill the sky and a dragon opens its eyes somewhere else. The elders are furious and ask Bai for the formula for his pill as it will greatly help in the Northern Bank's survival. The female elder offers him 2 powerful artifacts in exchange for the formula, but Li shocks them by suggesting they offer the Northern Bank's precious Wetland Kingdom. The elders are furious as it is the highest of the 10 main secret techniques. Li points out that the exchange is good because it will help them regain control of their thousands of precious spirit beasts. The female elder accepts the trade and Bai promises to do his best. The elder plays along with Li, explaining that only Patriarch Tianyi could get a sky wing beast from the Wetland technique, giving him widespread supremacy. He also learns that Bai was able to enter the Outer Sea realm when he cultivated the dragon elephant. Bai, who has already comprehended the Wetland Kingdom power system, realizes that the 2 techniques he has been cultivating or interacting with have fused into one. He ends up back in the abyss, where the dragon points out Bai's courage. Dong Senyun prepares to go up against Bai in the final match to finalize the top 5. Despite being late, Bai uses the beasts against his opponent and shocks everyone with his supreme control over them. Yun admits defeat as Bai commands the beast to attack him. It is revealed that Bai has something to do with the disappearance of Northern War Beasts, as he managed to control Yun's War Beast. The top 5 chosen are all qualified to enter the secret realm to meditate. The Northern Bank male elder is disgusted by the possession of their precious Wetland Kingdom technique in Bai's hands, while the female elder points out that it has been thousands of years since someone was able to use it. The top 5 chosen face off in a fight to determine who the top candidate for the entire event is. Northern Bank fans hope that Bai gets the number 4 so he can get destroyed by Guia, but they are disappointed to see that Bai gets a pass for the first round. Gongsun Wanner faces Guia, who easily dodges Wanner's attacks and wins the match. Tianyu stops his opponent with a surprise attack and wins his match. Tianyu then faces Bai to win the right to fight against Guia, but insults Bai's parents during the fight, which enrages him to finish Tianyu with a single strike. Guia storms the stage, acknowledging Bai as a worthy opponent, and challenges him to a fight. Guia's initial attack is devastating, and the crowd is amazed at how he ended the fight with just one attack. Bai manages to land a throat lock attack on him but is impressed at how Guia managed to stay alive. He takes this opportunity to respond but easily avoids his attack. Guia uses his Kai Transform Cauldron to block Bai's attack, which amazes the chiefs. Bai uses his Dragon Elephant Sea Transformation technique to increase the power of his attack. Guia is seemingly pushed to the edge and unlocks a seal that causes his attack to overcome Bai's, leaving the crowd shocked to see Bai defeated. The Northern Bank acknowledges the worthiness of Bai's abilities, but Guia still struggles to defeat him. Guia prepares an attack on Bai, which is a Foundation Establishment level move. Bai uses his secret family technique, the Bankrupting Sword Array, but Guia avoids it, causing Bai to bring out his Divine Sword. Bai reveals that he was trying to learn from Guia's attacks and unleashes the top seeker technique, the Wetland Kingdom. The attack is devastating, and the elders are in disbelief. Bai has learned a technique that no one has been able to learn for thousands of years. However, the innate spirit has not appeared, and this is not the final form of the secret technique. Bai's immense talent is determined to create the most supreme divine beast in the world. As the water turns black, Li is horrified to see a spiritual energy backlash. He instructs everyone to run away and law enforcement to protect them. Li is unwilling to give up on Bai, and eventually, the black dragon from the sky comes to rescue Bai. Bai returns to normal, and everyone celebrates. Bai explains that he searched for a long time in the Enlightenment Mirage, but forgot what caught his eye. The Northern Bank participants believe that Bai didn't comprehend the innate spirit, but are shocked to see him turn black. A claw emerges from the clouds, and Bai explains that he is glad to be able to live up to their expectations. A month passes, and a ceremony is held for the top chosen. They have finished training in the secret realm and are told that the Earthly Vein Foundation establishment starts once every 60 years. With the invincible Master Bai by their side, the crowd is not too worried about survival. The Chosen One heads out on their new adventure. The heaven-reaching river nurtures many sectors, including the Spirit Stream sector, the Bloodstream Profound Stream, and the Pill Stream sector. The 4 chosen from every sector are locked in a stalemate, with showing weakness and causing disaster. The Foundation establishment's sacred lands are open, and the prelude to a 1,000-year war unfolds. The Talking Monkey explains the importance of Foundation establishment and cultivators in the future of all sectors. Establishment level Bai's group is approaching the sacred lands, which they believe are called the Fallen Sword Abyss. They have only one opportunity to enter it every 60 years, and throughout history, heroes have fought over it. Lee explains that every sector chosen has earth-shaking strength, and Lee suggests using the Jade Pendant transport to leave them near the Fallen Sword Abyss. The 3 chosen from every sector arrive, and they assume their only competition will be a blood sector chosen that once killed a Foundation establishment cultivator. The portals that enter the sacred lands open, and the 3 from before explain that they won't be friendly when they meet inside. Fights break out everywhere, making Bai realize it's too dangerous. He sets out to find the transport circle for entering the Fallen Sword Abyss, and in the process helps his juniors. Bai and Yunfei arrive to take him to another portal nearby, but they miss that one. Attempts at entering other portals fail, and they finally find a secluded portal that doesn't meet the transport quota. Some Bloodstream sector guys try to trap him, but he uses several talismans to get out. As he is next to a portal, Bai realizes he's running out of time to get limited resources inside and decides to move forward. Even though it might be hell, Bai is unable to fly inside the abyss, but he manages to land safely and starts gathering Earth Kai. However, he is attacked by a fiend beast, which gives him his first drop of Earthly Vein Kai. Bai defeats the beast and starts to fill his bottle and start the Foundation establishment. But an hour passes and no other beasts come, making it impossible for Bai to fill his bottle. Bai is shocked to find that the disciples he helped get into the Fallen Sword are injured and poisoned. He decides to help them and gives them pills to suppress the poison. The man behind the poisonous attack is revealed to be Fang Lin, who is much stronger than reported. Bai is exhausted after defeating the beast but decides to continue collecting Kai. Bai learns that the beast came after Wanner and that she still dislikes him from their past encounters. He decides to protect her from now on, even though she still calls her a pervert. Bai follows her and explains that everything he did in the past was an accident. As they battle fiend beasts, they encounter a monstrous sandstorm approaching, and they are surrounded. A person riding a beast watches them, and Bai falls into a sand trap. He decides to protect Wanner, but they are trapped inside the Fallen Sword itself. They are trapped inside the Earthly Vein Kai and crave spiritual energy. Bai is worried about a fiend spirit about which Chief Lee warned him. They notice an egg on Bai's head and try to destroy it, but Bai ends up getting the worst of the damage. The egg returns and the two realize that it can't be a fiend spirit since it shows no signs of aggression. They decide to give the egg a face, as fate has brought them together and given them the bond of adopted father and son. Wanner is disappointed to see Bai refining pills, but he ignores her and continues refining a pill that can attract fiend beasts. They end up in a strange place, where they find themselves surrounded by an absurd amount of fiend beasts. She decides to go ahead to the Foundation establishment without him as Bai finds out that the beasts are only wanting to go after him. Bai kills all the fiends within a 100-mile radius and fills his bottle completely. Song shows up to take it from Bai. Another guy comes up and they all gang up on Bai to steal his bottle. Bai has the genius idea to use the pill to have the fiend beast attack the others, but stops when he sees Wanner thrown behind him. Everyone realizes that the little girl is actually a fiend spirit, and Wanner blames Bai's pill for attracting it. He pretends to give up the Kai from his bottle but instead throws the refined pill into Sean's mouth and runs away. The girl is interested in seeing Bai feeding the man the pill, but Bai runs as far as he can. He is determined to reach the Foundation establishment and get out of there as soon as possible. Han's group looks for Bai, who is famous for being treacherous and cunning. They think they have found Bai in different clothes, but after beating him for a while, the guy reveals that he is Yi Zhang from the Bloodstream sector. Shanlei is turned into a puppet by the little girl and is now hunting Bai using him. The girl wants to play hide and seek with Bai, but he's really afraid of her and is trying his best to flee from her as far as possible. Bai hides multiple times, but is found by the little girl every time, and only escapes using his smoke pills. Sean, a famous genius puppet master, finds that Bai has completely filled his bottle and challenges him to a duel of artifacts. Bai reveals that he is not the only one with precious treasures and that he has never submitted to anyone before. Sean at last, after losing, gives the jade pendant to Bai, who allows him to keep 3 of his refined swords in return. Sean runs away when the fiend's spirit returns, but is again sealed in the jade pendant by Bai. Bai and Song are also heading to the same area through various dangerous routes because they can't use the flying swords in the fallen sword abyss. Bai realizes that all his Earth Kai has been eaten by his egg and begs it to not cut off his path to the Foundation establishment. Meanwhile, everyone is shocked that someone has already activated the tide. We see Song trying to activate it, but he himself is shocked to see that it is actually Bai who was successful in it. All of the participants who are trying to reach the Foundation establishment are surprised to find that someone has seemingly beaten them. Song, thought to be the most powerful among them, reveals it is Bai who is merging with the first tide level. Song uses a mysterious technique, which turns out to be his blood sector technique, while Bai merges the earthly vein Kai with his spiritual energy, creating a spiritual sea. Bai becomes overconfident about being the first to reach the Foundation establishment and realizes that the number of tides he activates determines the level of the establishment. The higher the tide level, the more advanced the skill needs to be. Every move needs to be perfect or the entire process will be ruined. Bai uses his purple Kai transformed cauldron and dragon elephant sea transformation technique, which makes everyone realize that the person receiving the golden tide is Bai. Other cultivators use their sacred techniques, and the first batch of tides inside the fallen sword were all activated by the top chosen of the 4 sectors. Bai realizes that something is wrong and attempts to break free from the shackles inside his tide. He is motivated by his goal to become immortal and uses his newly restored power to break free. However, his 5th level of tide has come to an end, and he is not able to go any further. Bai then demonstrates the true strength of his Wetland Kingdom technique, which is extremely powerful and shocking. The fallen sword abyss has a limited supply of earthly vein Kai, so Song reveals that if he manages to absorb all the earthly vein Kai, none of the others will be successful, so all of them order their people to immediately stop Bai. Bai is facing numerous disciples who refuse to let him reach the Foundation establishment. Traps have been set everywhere, and Bai's undying power has activated the 9th tide level, causing his fellow sector members to lose their rationale. Jenda, Bai, Fang Lin, and others break through Bai's barrier and charge to kill him. Yunfei arrives to help protect Bai, while Wanner also plans to defend her fellow spirit sector member. Yunfei is injured but refuses to give up, recalling how Bai sacrificed his life to save him during the Lucian incident. Bei Hanlei arrives to join the fight, warning that anyone wanting to kill a fellow spirit stream sector disciple must ask for permission first. Jendu stops Wanner, stating that he is doing them all a favor and that Bai will lose his mind if he completes the 9th tide level and achieves peak earthly vein. She believes in Bai, but pays the price for speaking up. Bai struggles with his emotions as he sees his comrades being killed. Fang Lin unleashes a massive attack that breaks Bai's divine shield, but Bai consumes his spiritual energy, revealing a bloody light that matches what happened 800 years ago when Wu Jai lost control. Bai demonstrates unmatched power and eliminates all his opponents, making it seem like a demon has entered their world. Jin Dao and the others tried to cut off Bai's Foundation establishment, and now they must all die. Bai moves at an incredible speed to stop Jin Dao and end his life, making Bai the victorious master. Yang watches and exclaims that history has somehow managed to repeat itself, as Bei is the second master Wu Jai. Bai takes responsibility for the events that led to the death of Jin Dao. He heals his friend and confronts Song, the blood sector disciple who is trying to complete his 8th tide level. Bai is unable to stop him, and Song forcefully activates the 9th tide level. Song uses his compass to activate the Heavenly Vein Kai, which is confirmed to be real. The battle intensifies, and Song and Bai fight for the upper hand. Song uses the Blood Killer World technique to defeat Bai, and his compass activates the heavenly path to the Foundation establishment. The recipient of the Heavenly Vein Kai is Bai, who feels a strange sensation of time and space. Bai's 5 senses and power of cultivation increase, and he proclaims his ability to annihilate the world with a snap of his fingers. Onlookers warn that this world will not be able to sustain itself much longer, and everyone must get out as soon as possible. Bai returns and promises to find Wanner, who is still missing. The fiend spirit from earlier reveals that she is now free and unrestrained. As a reward for Bai's help, she attempts to attack Bai to make him stay with her forever, but is stopped by the egg, who yet again saves Bai, and we also sees a glimpse of Wanner, who had been missing all this time. Bai has been missing for 5 days due to his Heavenly Vein Foundation establishment. The fiend spirit reveals that a disciple took the Heavenly Vein Kai and declared the area as the perilous domain of 9 hells. A man named Zong speaks with the talking monkey, who explains that Bai has reached the Heavenly Vein Foundation establishment and is the future hope of the Spirit Stream sector. However, the other 3 sectors are unhappy about this, as it would mean the Spirit Stream sector becoming the leader of the sectors. Bai's egg saves him from the fiend spirit and transports him into an unknown area. Elsewhere, the Grand Elder of the Bloodstream sector demands that the search for Bai continue. He realizes that Bai must be executed at all costs, and that the group should be determined to catch up to him. The Grand Elder of the Bloodstream sector is told that all assassins sent by all 3 sectors have been eliminated, but proclaims that Bai cannot defeat the one who achieved Foundation establishment with 9 tides in the first Hell Secret Realm, Sume. Bai thinks about being hunted by other sectors and wonders if someone is secretly protecting him. He finds his long-lost friend Lingfei in a cave and tells that she left due to an unavoidable difficulty. She disappears just as Bai wakes up and sees Li in her place. Bai wants to go search for her, but Li reveals that Lingfei is a traitor to the Spirit Stream sector. Bai has locked himself inside Li's home and is emotionally hurt by gaining the knowledge about Lingfei's true nature. He is determined to uncover the truth about Lingfei's betrayal of the Spirit sector. Zong, a respected elder, brings forth the Frigid sector medicinal scroll to help Bai walk the path of eternity. Bai accepts the responsibility and learns about his egg, which needs to absorb spiritual energy from spiritual beasts every day for 49 days to hatch into a beast king. This will cause great harm to the beasts, so Bai must ensure that the beast masters are okay with it. As the Northern Bank disciples discuss a strange occurrence where spirit beast disappears and returns on their own, they all assume it must be someone with a high status. They decide to join forces in a revolt against Bai, who has been known to do mischievous things. Bai, who wants his accomplice to be the Black Dragon, seeks the help of the elders to protect the Spirit Stream sector. Zhu points out that hatching the Beast King will strengthen the Spirit Stream sector and also intimidate the Bloodstream sector. Bai, when confronted by Bei Hanlei about his missing spirited beast, is not afraid to show him the egg, admits to harming the Northern Bank, and is determined to do what is best for the Spirit Stream sector. Bei Hanlei brings the elders to stop Bai, but Bai offers to show them the egg and tell them that all he's been doing is for the sake of the egg, which will hatch into a Beast King. Bai, a young man with immense talent, has become the most famous person in the Spirit sector, possessing the strongest powers and a Beast King having remarkable resemblance to the Black Dragon. The elders are amazed by the egg's birth via spirit refinement, but the celebration is cut short as the refinement is lacking, and the elders wonder if the failure was due to the insufficient absorption of spiritual power. Li arrives to explain that the failure was due to the colliding evil energy from the fallen sword abyss. Jiang, who is responsible for the hatching, takes full responsibility for the incident. Li temporarily eliminates Jiang's energy and tells him to go home. However, Jiang refuses, fearing losing those close to him. Bai tries his best and refines the egg in his pot, and hatching is thus successful. Tian Dai, the king of beasts, comes to life. As the sector's annual cleansing festival is set to be held, everyone becomes more relaxed. Despite his young age, Bai has become the most famous person in the spirit sector, with the strongest powers, and Tian being popular for being adorable. Bei Hanlei insults Bai for being hideous, but Zayame points out that what Bai did was for the good of the entire sector. Bai is doing well as he meditates on abstinence and refining pills day and night as an apology to the sector. Tian surprises Bai with a gift, but he is shocked to find that his young child has stolen undergarments. Tianyu arrives outside to explain that the sector is conducting a search. He states that nothing can be hidden from him, but he ends up not finding anything. Accidentally, one of the garments drops and Basie is caught red-handed. Bai pleads to the elders that he was wrongly accused, but Li points out that he knows the difference between right and wrong and that an explanation is needed. He continues to plead that it was actually Tian who stole all those undergarments. Bai, now a powerful figure in the Spirit Stream sector, is sent to the Forbidden Ancestral Grounds to test his ancestral inheritance. He enters a freezing temple and encounters a manifestation of an elder immortal who demands more respect from him. But it is actually Zhu. They both have become elders of the Spirit Stream sector, and Zhu explains that Jaya managed to activate 20 inheritances, so she expects Bai to do the same. After being enlightened, Bai is amazed by the activation of 100 pillars of light, which means all the inheritances have opened up to him. However, Bai is told by a voice that he can only choose one to comprehend. The voice explains that with the right mindset, even nothing will become something. Bai remembers Lee had given him a drop of heaven-reaching water which he uses on a wordless book, which led to a response, and the ruins being absorbed into his body. A hidden inheritance, the heaven-reaching river water ultimate, which has never been activated, is achieved by Bai, and it allows him to perceive all beings and understand everything. Bai hears a voice complaining about how Bai ruined his life, and he introduces himself as Dan of the Bloodstream sector. Dan reveals that he knows a secret concerning eternity, and offers to help the Spirit Stream sector. He reveals that he was given the mask by a mysterious person instructing him to disguise himself as the dead Zhang, and tells about the Relic of Eternity. Bai is shocked to learn that Dan's mask can change one's entire body's appearance and hide their power level. He offers to let him stay inside his pouch for the time being, but when the mask reemerges from the river, he realizes how much of a treasure it is. Bai uses his spiritual magnetic wings to fly around the city, gaining immense speed and power. He is surprised to see Wanner, who has returned to the spirit sector after a long absence. The elders are pleased with Bai's training, but strange weather begins to form in the city due to Bai's refining of the grade 4 pill. Bai adjusts his normal technique but finds it difficult to control the situation. The new disciples are informed of past incidents where Bai's refining caused acid rain and mutated animals to speak human words. Bihan Li, who had been tasked with refining pills, is shocked to see that Ba had the guts to do so. They attempt to suppress the furnace while everyone else runs away, but they are mocked by Bai. Yuan, the sector leader, scolds the two for making a scene, but Bai takes responsibility for their actions. Qian and Bai make the perfect pair, and they share a long-standing bond. Bai tells Iran to stop pretending, and Ba realizes that staying there is no longer safe. Bai decides to leave to gain experience, as he realizes that only through difficult experiences will he become an immortal sword. Yuan captures Ba and gives him a bag of spirit, stones, elixirs, and protective artifacts to begin his journey. Bai agrees to let him go, and Bai is allowed to say goodbye. Bihan Li is upset that he won't be able to say goodbye to Li, but Bai assures him that he will inform Li when he is done training. Bai leaves, leaving behind his adopted son and preparing for 3 days of celebration. Bai flees at extreme speeds to search for the Relic of Eternity in the Bloodstream sector. Dan explains that he has used a mask to hide in the Bloodstream sector for years and that it can change a person's appearance, voice, and aura. Bai realizes that he needs to learn about the Bloodstream sector and its legend. Bai arrives at the Bloodstream sector and is shocked to find a handshake mountain. Dan explains that the Spirit and Bloodstream sectors are fighting non-stop, and the identity-checking array at the gate has been strengthened. They learn that the Bloodstream sector focuses on individual strength, with the weak being bullied and the stronger feared. Everyone must undergo an examination before heading home, and anyone who fails will be considered a traitor to the sector and an accomplice of the Spirit sector. Sean tries to help Bai, who is acting as Zhang, and bribes him with everything he plundered from the fallen sword abyss. Zhang, admired for his ability, is granted the permission to enter the inner sector, is threatened by Sumi, a noble girl who will likely be promoted to master soon. Song Kui appears there to fight Sumi, as they are both contenders for the leadership of the Blood Mountain Peak, and they have an intense battle, with Sumi being the clear winner. Zhang decides not to act impulsively anymore, pretending to be injured, and spits out a mouthful of blood. Sean points out that he must have some kind of hidden defense, and Song becomes curious after hearing the name of Bai Zhaocheng, believing that a normal person like Zhang couldn't survive an attack from Song, and determines that Zhang must be hiding something. Bai's disguise as Zhang is about to be discovered, but Dan's mistresses saves him, and reveals that he has multiple mistresses. The Blood Master Hall is located at the top of the mountain, and they must create an elixir to open the secret chamber. Dan explains that retrieving the Relic of Eternity is harder than ascending to heaven, but they can pretend to have the Mortal Vein Foundation establishment, and become Middle Peak Guardians. Corpse Peak is set to select a mission to refine puppet corpses, which requires secret blood cultivation. Zhang, who is there for the Mortal Vein trial, is surprised to learn that the state is Sean's territory. Tensions are rising between the 4 sectors, and only the most elite will be selected for the Mortal Vein Foundation establishment. The mission involves refining white puppets, which takes half a year to complete. Bai, however, finds another way and is tasked with refining a secret blood pill for the gate-opening pill. He is taken to the secret blood pool to refine the puppet seed. The blood is the base for all the peaks and must be connected with the heirlooms. Bai decides to refine the puppet in the pill. Bai assures him of a plan and reveals he will also be making pills to accelerate the transformation into a white puppet. Sean rents out this corpse-raising workshop for a year and guarantees the first batch of refined puppets born will be given to the elder. However, the total amount of secret blood for refining puppets is reduced to 30% due to Bai. Dan is shocked to see his tiny puppet drawing all the secret blood to their room. Zhang emerges from the workshop, causing havoc in Sean's territory. Sean blames Zhang for the destruction of his workshop and the loss of secret blood. The Grand Elder, after seeing Bai's powerful green puppet, forgives him for all the damages, and Zhang will now go straight to the Mortal Vein trial in 3 months. Sean and Zhang discuss their relationship, with Sean believing Yang will succeed in the Mortal Vein trial. They discuss the Bloodstream Sector's Mortal Vein Foundation establishment trial, where Grand Elders from 4 peaks will serve as supervisors. Zhang is confident that he will easily get promoted to Guardian after 3 months. He focuses on finding 4-leaf grass and encounters a blood beast, which he defeats with his blood Kai. June wonders who she would like to become a Guardian after the trial, as there are many Guardians in the Middle Peak but they need to be more skilled in the medicinal path. Zhang steals all 10 Foundation pills and causes chaos. Afterward, Zhang explains that he took 5 of the pills himself and used the rest to make a pill for himself, but June is unimpressed by the useless grade 3 item. Bai admits that it is useless now, but he is determined to one day create a rare grade 5 pill for the Bloodstream Sector. The Elders become desperate to recruit Zhang, and he carefully weighs the pros and cons of all the peaks. June arrives to amaze everyone with her charm and Bai immediately agrees to join the Middle Peak. Bai is only interested in joining the Blood Master Hall to take the Relic of Eternity to protect her. Dan is scared of the rumors surrounding the Blood Master Hall and fears a ghost. Bai enters the hall but is attacked by an intruder, who he believes is also after the Relic of Eternity. Bai, who is trying to avoid a fight, is stopped by another person who seems to be a ghost. He uses his heaven-rising eyes of the law to find her, but is detected and realizes she must have an expert with her. Sumi, who has a memory of her vowing revenge on Bai, has been suppressed by a mysterious person who suppressed her consciousness. June, unimpressed by Zhang's breakthroughs, claims that Song is much more capable than him and that 2 types of people are easiest to control: those who covet riches and those who lust after women. She decides to cultivate the Blood Killer World technique and plans to rule the Middle Peak all by herself. A mysterious man appears before Bai, calling out his name and causing his strength to be suppressed. The man tells him to participate in the Blood Master trial, which will solve all his problems. Bai remembers that Dan told him about the mysterious person who gave him the mask, and he realizes he has this mysterious person helping him. In a brutal trial for selecting the master of one of the peaks, Bai is forced to participate. Dan reveals that trusted guardians are just disciples willing to sacrifice themselves, and Bai must decide whether to become a trusted guardian and participate in the trial himself. Bai decides to master the strongest skill and finds a valuable place behind the waterfall. He quickly finishes cultivating the Blood Sector's secret technique, which involves 3 stages: Blood Key Refinement, Blood Fluid Refinement, and Blood Ancestral Reversion. Bai manages to summon a blood sword, but his hopes disappear as another sword almost hits him. Song reveals that the sector rules state that things must be taken by force, and if he wants to have the waterfall for cultivation, it will depend on whether or not he has what it takes. Song and Bai fight, and Bai realizes that the undying blood Kai from his body is the best source of power. Song plans to teach Zhang a lesson on the Blood Killer World technique, but he uses his undying blood sword. Bai is heavily wounded and falls to the bottom of the river, but something strange begins to happen. Everyone in town has their blood Kai taken from them, and Bai wakes up to find that his undying blood can absorb nearby blood Kai. This allows him to cultivate the Blood Killer World faster and continue tricking everyone. He also attempts to steal blood from Sumi's training, but she refuses to give up. Sumi is shocked to realize her opponent must be the blood thief for stealing her blood Kai. Her apprentice searches for the thief himself but finds his blood Kai stolen. Bai accepts all of the power of the undying blood and unleashes a mountain-shaking strike. He uses blood fluid to summon a much larger sword, and Sume has a flashback of disobeying her master's orders in Donglan City, in a heated chase by a rabbit who has made everyone suspicious of Bai. The disciples are frustrated and angry as Zhang continues to steal their blood Kai. Zhang is found by Master Diviner, who plans to head to the Corpse Peak instead. They discover that Zhang has secretly cultivated the body refinement technique, making defeating him difficult. Master Diviner commands everyone to attack Zhang, but Zhang remains standing. Zhang fights back, showing the difference between himself and the others. He uses only bloodstream sector techniques, but seems to lose control as his attacks become more primal and gruesome. Song, furious, demands more fighting from the group, while Song prepares to use the last stage of blood refinement. Zhang blocks the powerful attack and fends off both attacks and the other guys with one move. Master Diviner reveals that Zhang has fused the body refinement technique with the blood killer world, causing the blood kai to be pulled from everywhere. The disciples wonder what kind of monster Zhang has become, as he has gone berserk and consumed massive amounts of blood kai. Zhang reveals that he will kill everyone if they want to kill him. Zhang continues to ask for more fighting, but Patriarch Wu Jai arrives asking if he has had enough. Zhang is praised by Wu Jai for his blood ancestral reversion and devilish nature. He gives him a blood treatment to heal his wounds and 3 spiritual blood pills to sharpen his sensitivity to blood. June arrives to remind everyone that Zhang is already part of Middle Peak and warns him to stay away from Wu Jai. Zhang is treated differently as he is called a demon and is thought to be someone who kills without batting an eye. He is shown various homes in Blood Kai and is told that Master Diviner lives in a nice place. Master Diviner refuses to come out of his home and vows to teach Zhang a lesson. He eventually decides to use his ultimate move and begs Sume to come get revenge for him. Sume agrees to help him but changes her mind when she learns about Zhang's involvement. The rumors spread rapidly, and people began to believe that Yang and Sum had a child. June, fearing Zhang might be influenced by Sum, meets Zhang, who is genuine and wants to protect her. June reveals that the blood and spirit stream sectors have been fighting non-stop since Bai's incident. The bloodstream sector has been divided into one faction for war and one for peace to resolve the conflict. Zhang is told to join the diplomatic mission to the Spirit Stream sector in 3 days to investigate the strength of the Spirit Stream sector's elders and find a resolution to the fighting. The Profound Stream sector is ambitious and will soon take over the nearby Pill Stream sector, which will invade their bloodstream. Their diplomatic mission is of utmost importance as war is unavoidable at this point, but they can still try to resolve things into peace. Bai disguised as Zhang is headed towards the Spirit sector to research himself. The patriarch of the Song family is amazed by Zhang's powerful energy and scariness, but Diviner explains that people like him will eventually be put in their place. Zhang believes Diviner is just a phony and can eliminate him instantly with very little effort. Patriarch Song meets with Lee of the Spirit Stream sector, and they head further into the sector. All of the parties insist the Master of Deduction named Diviner to locate Bai's home using heavenly divination arts. Diviner is confident in his abilities and asks for a reward for deducing the location. However, Zhang reveals that he already has a location and Diviner refuses to believe it. Zhang recalls his past and pretends to deduce that everything correctly and defeats the Diviner in every challenge. Diviner challenges Zhang in item deduction and decides to change his family's name to Zhang's if he can deduce the headless statue of the Elder Bai. Zhang states that Bai is a role model for everyone, and correctly deduces the statue. The 2 sectors get into a shouting match about who is better, but it's broken up by Zhang. Diviner points out how much harder human deduction is and prepares to watch Zhang fail. Zhang insists on trying and Zhang deduces that he will be wealthy and respectable. Zhang uses his memory of eating secret food together to whisper something in Zhang's ear. Everyone is amazed to see that Zhang had clearly deduced something about Zhang's future. The Elder of the Northern Bank warns them not to take visitors that day, as they cannot allow anyone from the Bloodstream sector to know about its existence. They summon their spirit beasts, and June realizes that their normal beasts are powerful enough to be dangerous. The Elder requests that everyone leave to avoid the beasts going out of control and devouring them all. The Beast King arrives and everyone is intimated by his presence, as they all are amazed that he was in the spirit sector all this time. Zhang telepathically instructs Tian to not reveal his identity so he can complete his task and states that he will come back for him later. Patriarchs Song and Li agree to not attack or join forces with anyone else but refuse to come to terms with each other. However, tensions rise among the powerful patriarchs, who fear that their sector will fall under an array in just a couple hundred years. The Bloodstream sector leaves, but they are shocked when a force is felt and they are told to protect the patriarch. Wu Jai reveals himself, is surprised and disappointed by the Spirit Stream sector, and realizes that the 2 sectors still can't trust each other. Gossip spreads false news about the Spirit Stream sector conceding defeat, and that Elder Bai hid. Wu Jai decides to face their enemy head-on, ordering all disciples to return to the sector and administer martial law to prepare for war. Bai trains hard and becomes June's trusted aide, preparing to take the Relic of Eternity and return to the Spirit Stream sector. As the seasons change, Bai becomes 10 times stronger and finishes intense cultivation, and we see him age. Bai has reached the mid-stage foundation establishment and is now able to condense 9 blood swords. However, he must pretend to only have 1 level of crystallization and cannot reach core formation or undergo fundamental changes. June is concerned about Zhang's ability to master the medicinal path and comprehend the sacred pill of ruin. They head to the ruins, where they discover the secret of the medicinal path, obtained by ancestors 10,000 years ago. Zhang decides to put on a show using the pill wall to make everyone think he had a successful breakthrough. He sits in front of the wall for 2 weeks, but no one seems to care. The earth shakes, and news spreads about Zhang beginning to comprehend the sacred pillar of ruin. Everyone in the Bloodstream sector is amazed and shocked to hear June's support. Zhang begins his magnificent performance, causing everyone to wonder if he is hallucinating. He sees a flashing figure on the wall and enters it, revealing a unique technique for refining herbs. The pill wall glows and appears to be a floral pill with all the medicinal potency. The patriarchs watch from afar, anticipating that if Zhang succeeds, the Bloodstream sector will have another elixir refining Grand Master. Zhang is ordered to be protected at all costs and is allowed to rest. He is urged to refine elixirs, and everyone thinks he has gotten mad as he runs off to refine them. The patriarchs realize that Zhang has comprehended the wall, and that there was an inheritance inside for the Pillstream sector. Zhang, who has been locked in his home for over a month, and is unsure if he can refine a grade 4 elixir. The diviner observes the terrifying nature of elixir refining and wonders why it is so important. However, his refining backfires, and he is shocked to see the chaos that ensues. Bai, while pretending to be Zhang, attempts to refine the elixir again, but is unsuccessful. He believes that the problem happened during potency refinement and that it has something to do with the air it absorbs. He uses other herbs to neutralize the air, but the furnace explodes again, causing fear among the people in town. June's concern grows as she realizes that if this continues, she will not be able to suppress everyone's fury. Bai shows determination and attempts to refine the elixir again, but is wrong in his predictions. The chaos reaches its peak when Song's cultivation at the waterfall is interrupted, and he decides it's time to act. The Patriot Song thinks this is how a Blood Sector disciple should behave, but when Zhang refines elixirs, there is continuous thunder and astonishing energy. June takes Zhang under her care, and he continues refining. However, he is attacked by Song, who does not allow him to speak. Bai manages to avoid the attack while protecting the cauldron, which Song continues to try to destroy. Bai realizes that the key is not to neutralize the air inside the furnace, but to dry it out and let it disperse slowly. He thanks Song for his contribution, but Song remains furious. June explains that Zhang is not doing it on purpose, and Song is sent home. As the rain falls, it has unexpected side effects, and people start to run to the bathroom. Song is more miserable than ever and vows revenge. June warns Zhang of the deadline the Patriarch has set, and Zhang has caused severe damage to the sector. She promises to protect him, and he finally speaks and reveals that he has managed to refine the elixir. The Patriarch arrives to examine the pills and finds them to be high-quality grade 4 elixirs. He is pleased with Zhang's talent for pill refining and announces that he will have the same status as the Song family's direct descendants. Diviner overhears and announces that Zhang has finished refining elixirs, and they all rush to return to the peak to bond as fellow sector members. Zhang acts as an honored guest but chooses not to drink with the others. Another elder reveals that the pills he refined are greatly beneficial to every peak, and they want to unite as a clan. Zhang agrees to join them, but Bai accidentally misbehaves with June and infuriates her, and she in turn punishes Zhang for forgetting the respect of the elder. The Grand Elders play rock paper scissors to see who gets the first refined pill. They offer Zhang several different gifts, including summer body refining techniques and the green pill puppet. Zhang expresses concern about the bad things that happen when he refines elixirs, but the elders assure him that he can wreak havoc as much as he wants without saying anything. June reminds them that Zhang is a member of Middle Peak and will be Middle Peak's puppet even when he is dead. Zhang agrees to make the other elders pills and is told not to come back afterward by June. The Grand Elder of Corpse Peak is eager to have Zhang start refining pills, but he wants to make sure he won't get in trouble for any mishaps that may occur from it. Bai agrees to take full responsibility for creating a powerful puppet pill that will help the Blood Masters reach the highest puppet stage. The Grand Elder announces that no one is allowed to interrupt Zhang's work, and anyone who does will be executed. Zhang begins to rebuild the workshop and learns about the process of making the pill. Bai, using his knowledge from understanding the pill wall, turns the green puppet into a pill furnace to brew the pill. The first step in refining the pill is easy but requires precision. Bai creates cracks in all the puppets and inserts the pill into the green puppet. Sean watches from outside as the ground shakes, realizing that Zhang is probably going to destroy the workshop again. Inside, Bai notices something is wrong and determines that the blood liquid is contaminated. He rushes to purify the blood and finishes the first stage of refinement. As black energy disperses out, Sean realizes that the smoke is causing everyone to hallucinate regardless of their power level. Sean issues orders to have the Elder informed, but doesn't realize that he is talking to a rock. The Grand Elder eventually returns on his own and wonders if Zhang's pill refining could have caused all the chaos. The other Grand Elders hear about the situation and realize that the rumors about Zhang's refining are true. June is furious and believes that Zhang never appreciated her efforts and quotes his magnification to stop others from being jealous of him. Sean is the first to wake up and realize that he was just talking to a rock. Zhang separates the blood reversion potion into primary and secondary pills, and he gives them the secondary pill while keeping the primary pill for himself. The Elder is in awe of the legendary grade 4 blood reversion potion and claims that his peak will rise above all others. Zhang returns to Middle Peak and June wants him to acknowledge his mistake. Zhang refuses and tries to give her a pill, but she rejects the pill as she thinks he relies too much on his refining skills. June states that she will not be manipulated by him and they begin to fight. June regrets putting her faith in him and breaks the bottle, revealing the elixir inside. Zhang states that she is now the Grand Elder and he is just his disciple. She stops him from leaving but can't put together any words, so he simply says his farewell. Bai leaves his relationship with June, who wants him to make her the charming fragrance pill. They discuss the issue and a disciple from Lesser Marsh Peak invites Bai to refine the blood body pill to increase cultivation. Bai agrees, but is surprised to find the techniques hidden behind the walls. The Elder explains that the pill was created by researching the giant's hand, and that he and the giant share the same foundation. Bai uses body refinement to fuse the body with an external blood kai, aiming to neutralize its best features for faster breakthroughs in the undying power method. At the Nameless Peak, disciples are warned about the plague demon Zhang, who is trying to refine elixirs. Zhang decides to make an elixir without mishaps and uses the opportunity to wash away his reputation as the plague demon. Bai fails the first attempt and is surprised to find a group of small black creatures, which he uses as a subordinate to test elixirs. He threatens to punish them for acting out and tells them to stay beside him and stand guard. He uses this knowledge to control the elixir's potency and secretly decreases its potency. Bai uses Hei as a test subject but is unsuccessful. He warns Hei of an exploding furnace and orders him to consume it before it explodes. Hei tries to attack Bai, but Bai is unable to destroy it. Bai reveals himself and teaches Hei the concept of master and servant. The elders find no news from the pill chamber and discover a high-power demon in the chamber. Zhang leaves them with a note and a gift. June is shocked to see Zhang returning on his own, stating that Middle Peak is home and he will always return there. He explains that he went to refine elixirs and make friends with the other elders for the sake of the Song family. He refined her charming fragrance pill, which surprised her and made him realize that he would always fulfill his promises. Song arrives, explaining that this is the perfect opportunity to get rid of Zhang. She scolds him, but he states that Zhang will bring disaster soon or later. Zhang stops her punishment of Song, surprising him more than anyone. June states that no one understands the pain Zhang has gone through, and he begins to lose control. The Lesser Marsh Peak Grand Elder appears and demands an explanation from Zhang. The other elders agree that it was because of his angry refined elixirs, but Zhang is upset that the elder lied about the cauldron not being able to explode. The other elders refuse to argue with Zhang, claiming that refining the precious pill requires extremely precise furnace pressure and can't tolerate the slightest change. The two powerful Grand Elders begin fighting and show off the most powerful techniques of both peaks. The other Grand Elders arrive to stop the fight and explain that everyone knew the risks when they asked Zhang to refine pills for them. The Lesser Marsh Peak Grand Elder apologizes to Zhang for attempting to capture him, but Zhang points out how dangerous it was. The Elder offers to triple the reward, but Zhang refuses. June stops the Elder, revealing that Zhang and the pill belong to Middle Peak. The Elders prepare for a fight, and Zhang steps up to say that he was the one who refined the pill, and that if they have any issues, they need to take it up with him. Just then Patriarch Song appears and announces that the pill will go to Lesser Marsh Peak due to their original agreement. Zhang, a top chosen Blood Elder, is promoted to the Middle Peak Elder. Marsh Peak will create a set of blood battle robes for Zhang, costing half of Lesser March Peak's worth. The Patriarch announces 3 important matters. The Foundation establishment will offer their Blood Kai to summon the Bloodstream Sector's legacy. The Middle Peak will start the Blood Master trial, and the sector will enforce rules forbidding disputes and internal conflicts. The chance for a fight with the Spirit Stream sector reaches its peak as transfer to Rays is activated across the Bloodstream sector. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this and want to see more, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you never miss a future video. And until next time guys, take care.